Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Raisa Pascal. Now, we all know what it feels like to be overwhelmed with exhaustion. But if your exhaustion never seems to end, it could be more than your busy, stressful lifestyle. Chronic fatigue syndrome is a medical condition that causes severe and unusual exhaustion, and according to the CDC, actually affects between 1 to 2 million Americans. Joining us now is interventional cardiologist Dr. Christopher Davis to shed some light on this condition. Dr. Davis, welcome to the show. As we mentioned, this condition affects 1 to 2 million Americans. What is chronic fatigue syndrome? What are some of those symptoms of it?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Chronic fatigue syndrome actually is a very kind of a nebulous term. There's so many things that it entails. As you mentioned earlier, the most common thing that we see is the tiredness, the fatigue. That I feel like I just, I get a good night's sleep and I'm still tired in the morning. Probably the most common complaint that people come into the physician's office for. But like you said, a lot of times it may be more than just I'm tired. And so you have to look under the surface. Sometimes it's associated with things such as pains, arthritis issues, insomnia, things like that could be associated with this condition as well. And the issue is no one really knows. There's not one simple cause for chronic fatigue syndrome. Certainly lifestyle factors play a major role. And those are some of the things that we try to address when we're looking at chronic fatigue syndrome and that diagnosis.
That's right. And then there might be some people, even at home right now, who are thinking, oh, I feel tired all the time, but I
Right,
just thought it's because I work so hard or I'm running around trying to
right.
take care of the kids. Is there a medical test for it, a way where someone can know for sure that it is a chronic condition?
Right. So the diagnosis is actually made looking at a group of symptoms. There's no one test, unfortunately, and that's why the diagnosis of chronic fatigue has sometimes been over. I guess we kind of miss the diagnosis a lot of times because there's no one test to diagnose it. I think that we do know that there's an association with adrenal issues. So the adrenal gland is a gland right above the kidneys that produces their stress hormones. And so as we all talk about being stressed out, we talk about that emotional component of being stressed out. But at the same time, we actually have chemical factors that are out of balance that can be contributing to this chronic fatigue syndrome as well. So certainly looking at the adrenal gland would be one thing to look at. But we also know that things such as viruses, Epstein-Barr virus that causes mono, that lots of people have had, those type of things that if they get reactivated can also lead to a lot of the chronic fatigue issues. So no one test, but you have to have a physician who's going to look at you in your entirety, kind of from a holistic perspective, to start to think about the things that could be causing this chronic fatigue: heavy metals, toxins in the environment, or
Right.
diet, or sleep. So there's so many things that could be contributing, but you have to look at that person from a holistic perspective.
Right. And then obviously, once you do determine that you do have this, we want to change, we want to get better. And I know you have
Right.
3 lifestyle changes that actually can help overcome the symptoms of chronic fatigue. Let's talk through these. Food sensitivities. No, that's the first one. Does that have to do with allergies? What is that?
Right. So this is a biggie. And this is a biggie because food sensitivities are a major issue, and a lot of people, a lot of us are sensitive to foods that we really don't even recognize. I'll tell you, and doing this for a while now, everybody has sensitivities to gluten. I think that all of us should know that although you might not have a gluten allergy, there's a big difference between a sensitivity
Hmm.
and an allergy. Sensitivities can cause just as much problem because it causes lots of inflammation in our gut, in our intestinal tract, which causes something, a very common term these days called leaky gut syndrome. So sensitivities are just as important as an allergy. You may not
Right.
have that immediate reaction, but that sensitivity to gluten, some
They got
people
to be
have
mindful
eggs
of
and
that.
dairy,
Yeah.
right?
And then you
So,
also, oh, yes, you also say taking vitamin B and magnesium. How much of that do we need to take?
well, that really depends. I think what I would say a good B complex vitamin. Now, when you say vitamin B, there are many B vitamins, and I think people neglect. Everybody knows about B12, and they take B12, and your doctor may check your B12 level. But the other B vitamins, B6, B1, B2, which is thiamine,
Yeah.
riboflavin, folate, are just as important. So B complex would be good.
Nice. And the last
Magnesium
one,
probably.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
wanted to make sure we get to the last one, balancing sleep and exercise. How do we do that?
Yes. Sleep and exercise super important. Sleep, I think we neglect it. Really utilizing some of the metric trackers like an Aura Ring or other sleep
All
tracking
right.
devices is very helpful.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Davis. We're going to make sure we have this information on our website at dailyflashshow.com.